Okay, the saga of the fuel pressure problem. Many different problems with the fuel delivery on this truck. Okay, first of all, the air filter was clogged, so this is all the work and things I've found so far. So the air filter was blocked. That was giving an up and down rev the same time that the fuel pressure gauge dropped, but they're two different issues. But anyway, it's got a new air filter on it now. With the fuel pressure gauge, the liquid has to be drained out of the fuel pressure gauge. If you don't drain the fluid when it warms up, it gives a wrong reading, so the fuel pressure drops on the fuel pressure gauge, but not in the hoses to the carburetor. Thirdly, I got an improvement when the metal line between the tank and the fuel pump was bypassed, so the metal line. So now what we're going to do is connect an electric pump to the fuel tank and pump it into the empty tank on the other side, and we're going to make sure that the net around the end of the drop-in metal rod into the fuel tank, that wire mesh doesn't sort of come in and constrict the flow of fuel. Okay, this is a driver's side sending unit, so that's the bit that drops in the tank there, and I'm thinking possibly this white sock here could be constricting the flow. You can see that there's an L bend there, goes down near the bottom of the tank. So there's definitely some type of a block, but if this test is successful, there's really no point in dropping the tank. So that's driver's side, and I'll bring up the passenger side now. That's the passenger side. And I'd say that's possibly the issue there, that it could be clogged. If it's a metal mesh sock. Okay, well, let's see. So this is on Rock Auto. So the search engine, I put in the information 1977 Chevy C20 350. Okay, so there it is. There's our mock-up test. So this is a Carter P 4070. It's a fuel pump that can be put on this car as a fuel pump, although it's exceptionally loud and you wouldn't want to use it unless you had to. Probably louder than the actual motor itself, or the engine, I beg your pardon. Okay, so this line here is connected to the tank. That's not actual fuel line. This is a see-through fuel line. I got this from a place in California. Apparently that's fuel rated clear fuel line. Just spend a few seconds on this fuel pump. So you got a bracket, and got to do something about a nut on one of these. I think the washer is underneath, but that doesn't matter. I can always fix that later. Line in, line out. It's got, I don't really approve of these connections here. They just sort of slip on. There's no nut or anything really to hold it on. If I was going to use this, I'd put silicone around here before I shove the end of it on, just to hold it a bit better. So I just put the positive on. That'll run the pump, suck the fuel in, and we'll see if we get fuel flow. If we don't, that means it's restricted. I've got to drop the tank and take that sock off the end of the drop-in metal line there into the tank. If this all works, there's no real point in dropping the tank. And what that would say to me is you know, just no wonder these vehicles only did about 80,000 miles and then they took them to the tip. Anyway, let's do it. Let's see. Okay, just to be a bit more specific, we've got the test line connected to the passenger side tank on this truck from the USA, so the steering wheel is on the left. That line runs over to the pump there. Okay, connecting the positive cable to the battery. Okay, there we go. Fuel flow. I see air bubbles here. Have they disappeared now? We've got good strong fuel flow. So at this stage there seems to be no restriction in the tank. So that's all flowing very very well. The fuel pump has like this has got a continuous pump-like action. The mechanical fuel pump sort of draws it in like that. So I don't know whether or not that could affect the sock in the tank. This is looking like a successful test of the tank. The tank's ability to produce enough fuel. That's the same amount of fuel as the start. There doesn't seem to be any blockage whatsoever. Get that battery out of the way from underneath the small amount of spill there. Yeah, no, that's good fuel flow. There's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. Well, that's a surprise. Okay, I'm going to pause it here. If there's any change, I'll let you know. I'll pump the entire fuel until this this tank fills up. Okay, well that's interesting. The pump just stopped working for no reason. Okay, well that's a very big surprise. There's absolutely nothing wrong with the fuel passage from the tank out of the tank or inside the tank anywhere. I mean that's more volume than a mechanical fuel pump would get out of the tank. You know, because it doesn't flow through, it just goes to the carburetor, and it's what they call like a deadhead type of design. So that, you know, I really don't know what to say. Okay, I'll be wrapping up this this series of of tests now on the fuel pressure problem. What I'll be doing is I'll be buying this see-through hose. I'll connect it up to the right hand side tank and run that to the fuel pump, and that'll be it. Job finished. I mean, I've got fuel pressure. You know, some of the tests I really can't explain. Yeah, okay, so that's what I'll be doing. I'll order this, it'll take a month or so, and connect that up, and job finished. Just closing saying that I think it was a really good idea in going with the electric fuel pump design in the future. Although that may not be adequate until you get, say, 30, 40 psi, and that was probably in the early 2000s with trucks. So, okay, well, over and out.